Okay, so is Ed Evans? Ed Evans, is he here? You know, I always welcome questions before I do the meeting, but I don't particularly enjoy getting the questions at 11:10 before the meeting. But Ed sent in a question, and I want to just address that quickly and see if there's input from the group. And what his question is that on the iPad or the iPhone, in iOS Mail, you can't do it from mail, you have to do it from an app. How do you get like a group of 40 names and send out an email to that group? And then I assume keep the group. And the way I have done that in the past, and I haven't done it very often, but I've used this app called Mail Plus. I've got a couple groups. I got a bike group and a ski group. But I know that there are apps that will do that. And you can create a group on iOS just by selecting individuals, but that gets to be, I don't know if you can keep that group, although the mail would be kept to that group. Yes, Jim.
I think you could create a group in contacts, give that group a name, and then just type that in.
No, you can't. You can do it in on the computer, but not on.
That's what he said. You can do it on the computer, but not in iOS. And iOS, it gets a little clumsy. So I think you need to use a third-party app. Is that what you're doing?
Third-party app, you can then type in ski team and.
Yeah, look at what I got on the screen now. I got a bike group. If I hit the bike group, there's all the people in the bike group. And then I just create my message right here, and it does it. Okay.
How do you add somebody to that group?
In this particular app, I haven't used this app in some time, but you can just plus right here.
Thank you.
And then I would just go through it. But I have not used, quite honestly, the app in probably a year and a half. And I got the question 20 minutes ago, and I just remembered that I had an app. And I would imagine that there's other apps. Yes, Bill.
If you create a group on your computer,
yes,
does it migrate to your iPad and phone?
No.
No, it'll migrate. You can create a contact group, and it'll come to your phone, but it won't. You can't mail to that group, as I understand it. Jim.
I just did it just now.
Oh, you did.
I have a group in contacts. It's a family group.
Yeah.
And I typed in the name of that group on my iPhone, and all of the names in that group showed up in the toolbar.
Mine doesn't work that way.
Let me see.
We ought to figure out what Jim does that somebody else isn't doing, because that's.
I don't know that I have groups anymore. Let me just look.
You created that group where?
I don't remember, but more than likely I created it on my laptop. But I just entered the name of the group, but I still have groups in contacts. It's the same contact list in iOS that it is on my laptop. So.
Yeah, I don't have. Let me just look at my phone once and see if what I have there.
So the group was originally set up on a computer in contacts.
Yes.
And it has a name.
And it has a name.
Yeah, it has a name, and then it'll come over. I used to have 5 or 6 of them, but I took them out. Yes.
Is there a maximum number that you can put into a group that will not go into junk on somebody else's computer?
I have no idea.
Okay. It probably varies with the carrier.
Yeah. I would.
Can you go into mail on your now and try and tap in your name to that group and see what happens?
I don't have a group. Oh, that group is a group that's only in that app.
So you can't do it on mail. You can only do it on Mail Plus.
You can do it on Mail Plus, and I can create that group on my computer. And it'll come over, and that's what Jim says, and then he types in the name.
Only in
But
Mail Plus, not in Mail.
No, in Mail.
I just tried in Mail and it didn't work.
Do you have a group set up?
Yes.
Do you have a reflector? I can show you.
Well, I'll show
No,
you.
don't have reflect. You can hold it up here and see. If you want to come up and stand
Yeah, why
here.
don't you go up there?
Come on up. Let me get to that. Hold on. You'll have to be sitting here and hold your phone out here. So you'll see what I mean in a second. So in other words, when I've got my phone here, you've
Oh, I
got to
get
hold your phone and hold it over this side, because if you hold it over here, it's not going to show on the screen, okay?
Yeah. All right, first of all, that's a bunch of groups that I created. All right, there's one called Diaz Group. That's my doctor. Okay, so go to,
Hold it together.
Move it over a little.
Move it over.
okay, when I find what I'm doing, then I'll show you. Okay, so I'm creating a new mail, all right? I've got it in there, got to get the keyboard.
Is that a text?
No, it's a email.
Email.
Okay, now type in the name.
Hold on a minute, he's getting that.
Okay, I typed in Diaz Group. All right, and you can see Diaz Group came up as a choice. I'm going to type that, touch that. And Diaz Group is in line. I hit return. Oop. My sausage fingers did not hit return.
And now you're ready to send a message.
Yeah.
Doesn't work when I do it, but.
Last time the names came up though. That was weird.
They came up when you first typed it in.
Yeah.
So if you just put the group's name in and then you start typing, you think it'll go to that whole mail?
Yes, it should. Touch the group and see what happens when you hit it. Just
Well,
touch it and hold it.
It
Hold
touches it like
No,
in the,
no, hold it.
No, just cut.
okay, last time I did it, the names came in.
Well, they did come in when you typed it in first. There they are.
When you type the name of the group, it
Sure
shows
they
you the
will.
list.
There they are. Yes,
Okay.
group.
This time the name showed up.
What did you do different?
I did the same thing, but you see, I've got two groups named Diaz.
Oh,
So I
okay.
might have touched.
You
I might-
touched the other
I
one.
might have touched the other one.
Okay.
Should return the phone.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the coronavirus and everything. And you can look around and our attendance is way off. I assure you it's not because I'm here, but George is looking a little funny. Anyhow, I have noticed, I'm sure a lot of other people here have observed that you go to Costco, go to Publix, there's no decreased crowds there, and there are shopping carts full of toilet paper and other cleaning aids if they have them. But I go to a gym, or I did go to a gym. I haven't been there in a couple of weeks. I've been doing something else because that to me is a highly contagious environment. Got all kinds of machines and everything. I've got a friend that goes to the gym and also comes here. She was going to be here today and I don't see her, but I texted her and she said in the last week or so, she said the gym has been absolutely empty. Yes.
I just came here from cardio rehab at the hospital,
Yes.
and my particular session was 94% attended.
Well, that's a different kind of a thing because it's a cardiac rehab and you're assigned to go there. This is like voluntary, go in and exercise.
They knew you were coming, that's a big thing.
Yeah. I haven't noticed any decrease in restaurant crowds yet.
Last night, we went to the Sudgeon Theater,
Yeah,
and the performance was at least 25% empty seats.
yeah, okay. And I know my neighbors here. Have you been up to church? Have their crowds decreased at all?
Yeah, I would say quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit, okay. My estimation is that as soon as you see something in the paper or on the news that so-and-so working wherever in Naples was just diagnosed with coronavirus, that people are not going to be going to a lot of different places.
Well, that happened this morning.
They announced on Wake News today 3 cases in Collier.
Oh, in Collier, but they didn't say where, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is coming. So anyhow, I did a little bit of research before this, and I want to get into some of the things I found on how to properly clean your iPhone, iPad, your AirPods, and Apple changed their methods on this recently. It used to be that they said don't use a wipe on it and so on. Now they've changed that. So I wanted to go over a little bit of that with you. And I took a few photos here. So here is the traditional cleaner that you can get on Amazon to clean your screen and so on. A lot of professionals use this. And it was approved, I think, by Apple. But now you can use alcohol, and you can use Clorox wipes, Lysol wipes to clean your displays. And they do tell you if you Google this that make sure that the device is not plugged in, and to use like a cloth that you'd use to wipe your lenses, one of those microfiber cloths. If you're using the alcohol, I've got a picture of it. The guy just puts a little bit on there and lightly wipes the screen and the device. Same thing with the Clorox wipes, the Lysol wipes. Those tend to leave sort of a film sometimes, so you have to then wipe it with a dry, make sure you wipe it then with a microcloth to get that film off. But this is new. Apple never approved this before, and they're saying it's okay to do it. It won't take any of the coatings off as long as you don't rub hard. Yes.
So you're saying this is cleaning without any kind of protector on it, because last.
If you have a protector, you can
You can do it.
too.
This is without it.
This is without it, yes.
So okay.
Yeah, so this, here's the guy using the alcohol. Apply alcohol, rub lightly. And then these are things not to use. Abrasive sprays or aerosol sprays, bleach, hydrogen peroxide, abrasives. It's really interesting when you go on Amazon, which I've got a picture of here, and you type in this stuff, there all kinds of sprays come up. But they're saying don't use the sprays. If you get a spray, put it on the cloth and wipe it on. Here are a couple of the wipes that you can use, a couple that I have at our house. These are in short supply. I was able to pick up a couple of them on Monday morning at Publix. But let me see if oh yeah, you can also use wet ones if you can find them. Okay?
But Mitch, what about baby wipes? What is it? Is there anything in baby
Uh,
wipes?
I would look at a baby wipe. I would imagine a baby wipe does not have the alcohol and stuff to kill the germs, but I don't know.
Yeah, that would.
That's an oil.
Yeah, you wouldn't want an oil on your screen. So I thought that was worth talking about, and I do have the Apple site. Here's the Apple site. If you go into Apple under the search bar there at the top next to support and type in cleaning your iPhone, you'll come up with this page, and they go over, and this is again new. They recently changed this, and they go over everything that you can use. It's okay to use alcohol products, 70% alcohol and so on. That's new. Clorox wipes. So this is right off of their site. And then they give each product. And they say, okay, on the phone, here's what you would do. And there's different instructions. There's instructions for the iPhone 11 series, and then for the X series and the 8s and the 7s, and then different instructions for the 6 and so on.
Why is it different for the different phones?
I think it's probably different coatings, different waterproof levels, particularly when you get down to the lower, level phone numbers. But you could read about it on the site. So that's worth looking at. Then also there was an article on Mac Daily. Again, they were.
I sent a couple of those out this morning.
They were just reiterating the same thing, that Apple now says it's okay to use Clorox disinfectant wipes and so on. So I thought it was prudent to go over some of that stuff
Why
today.
would you find it necessary to clean a phone that only you use?
Because you might not be the only one that uses it. If you're the only one that uses it and you think your hands are always clean, I mean, you just went to the grocery store and picked up an orange and set it back down and decided you didn't want that one, and the guy before you picked it up and had the coronavirus, and then you went home and touched your phone.
Yeah, but if you're still the only one using it, you're only going to give it to yourself.
Well, I mean, if that's the way you feel, then never clean your phone. But I would say, yeah, nobody uses my phone, but occasionally my wife will pick up my phone. Or occasionally, if I've got a neighbor in the house and I'll say, well, here's what to do, and they'll touch my phone. So you might think you're the only one that uses it, but you better be sure. Does that make sense? Okay.
Hospitals, I learned this from dealing with the angel groups who invest. The hospitals are very, very conscious of the iPhones, of all phones. And there's been development for devices that convey, you put the phone in, it conveys through, and it sterilizes it before the other. It's a 20 or 30 second process.
Yeah.
And they're developing that because it's one of the sources of infection in especially the clean areas.
Yeah, I mean, you think about an iPhone, I mean, it's one of the dirtiest items that you'll have around. Yeah, exactly. The dirtiest thing around in a retail store, you know what it is? Do you know what it is in a retail store? Do you know what the dirtiest thing is in a retail store?
Card.
Oh, pick this thing up and sign here. And they're just,
with the restaurants.
and with the restaurants too. So,
What about the change in your pocket?
I don't have change. I don't carry money anymore. I rarely have money. I don't have dime money right now. No, I usually keep, a few dollars in my console, my
Those
car.
of us that still carry change in our pockets.
Well, I mean, you're carrying around a lot of germs. Potentially, yes.
What about a scratch on the iWatch?
I Googled how to get rid of those, and there's not much helpful stuff out there. The most helpful thing was the gentleman was here last week. I don't think he's here today. He's the one that has he's training the service dogs, and he brings in a dog with him. And he has the cover that he got on Amazon. I went up and looked at it, and it was pretty impressive. But I already have a couple scratches on my watch. So now, if you want to pay the money and get the stainless steel watch, they have a sapphire crystal, and they do not scratch very easy at all. But you're paying a lot more. So, yeah. Okay, so let me look at my list here and see what's next. Anything else on the corona and disinfectant? Yes.
Well, it's not about disinfectant, but I got a message the other day that told me how to tell whether I actually was infected. And the way you do it is you take a very deep breath and you hold it for 30 seconds. And if you can hold it for 30 seconds, that's a sign that your lungs are strong and you probably don't have the virus in your lungs. So it's a simple test. Take a deep breath, hold it for 30 seconds. And that's a good indication you don't have it.
I don't think the physicians in
No, I
this
did
group
hear
would
that.
agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think the physicians in the group would agree with that.
It was in the newspaper today.
It was. Okay.
Well, Mr., our physician in the audience, we have a couple of them. What do you guys have to say?
It might be an indication. I mean, it's not going to be foolproof, because they say that there's a lot of people out there that are symptomatic. They're carriers. They show no symptoms at all, and they're giving all kinds of people the virus. So I'm sure that they can hold their breath for 30 seconds if they're
I
asymptomatic.
find that they can't because the lungs are infected even if they don't show any signs of it.
What did it say in the paper?
What he said.
What he said?
Yeah, what it basically was, there was fibrosis, I think is
Yep.
in the lungs.
Yep.
And that's not detectable it's not detectable until you're pretty damn bad.
Okay.
And this was an idea to give it early warning.
Well, my wife told me that last night, but she must have got the zeros mixed up or something. She said, if you can hold it for 300 minutes. And I did, I was able to do it.
The second hint was drink fluids, because the virus gets forced into your stomach, and the stomach can kill the virus, whereas if you don't, if you got a dry mouth, it's going to incubate.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any information as to how long this is going to be hovering over us? Is there?
No, I don't think there's any real indication of that. I mean, but I don't think there's any real indication of that, but it is something that's very significant. I mean, when they start shutting down countries, which they just shut down Italy completely, and nobody's coming in anymore, that's pretty significant. Now, they say some of these countries are over the hump, like Japan. They say it's already maxed out there. Who knows when it'll max out? I know that it's a serious virus from what I've read for people in our age group. And the older you are, and if you have any health issues, the more serious it can be. Wait a minute. Now, with that said, I did read an article that said, you know, the press and the news media has really gone rampant with this. And if you look at SARS, there were like 12,500 that were killed in the United States from SARS. In 2018, the virus was very bad in 2018. And I think it said 80,000 people in the United States were killed from the virus. And they said, this is probably gonna land somewhere between those numbers. But I think the difference with this is that it spreads very rapidly. But who knows how big it's gonna get. I know it's not like the pandemic of, what was it, 2008, where millions of people died. I don't think it's anything like that. Yes.
A couple things. First of all, the big difference between this and other ones is the other ones affected young people. This doesn't affect young people. So a lot of those deaths were young people, and that won't happen with this one.
That's exactly right.
The other thing is that, we're all worried because a lot of people in this audience are over 60.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not only in jeopardy if you're over 60. You're in jeopardy if you're over 60 and you have health complications. If you're over 60 and you're fundamentally a healthy person, I would say don't worry at all.
Right.
But it doesn't require the great worry. The great worry is if you're over 60 and you have existing diabetes or lung problems or other things, that makes you particularly vulnerable. But if you're fundamentally a healthy person,
the risk is lower for healthier persons. Yeah, there's no question about that.
And if you belong to a MAC user group, you're in perfect condition.
Here was that article I read, and this was from an actual analyst, and he says about the third line down, in my opinion, the overall death toll in the States could you please turn that off? Will probably be somewhere between the swine flu breakout in 2009, approximately 12,500 in the United States died, and the horrific flu season of 2018, approximately 80,000 died, neither of which saw nearly the press coverage nor the mass hysteria that we have today. And I'm not saying that press coverage and everything is not warranted, but that is, I mean, I didn't know how many people knew that 80,000 people died in 2018 from the flu. You did? Okay. Okay. One more question from you for right now.
do the math. 50,000 people out of 300 million population is a very tiny percent.
Oh, I know. Yes,
As long
exactly.
as you're not one of them.
As long as you're not one of them. Okay, yes, one more thing on the flu.
Several colleges are having their children go home in spring break and stay there and take the rest of the semester online, including Harvard, including Purdue, and many of the others are considering it.
Yes, yes, I had heard that this morning. And thank you for that. Okay, so I want to move on from the flu, but we are in good shape in this group in the sense that we can do these meetings. I was on with Eckert last night at 4 o'clock, and we spent a few minutes doing this. I could literally do this meeting sitting in my office at home on Zoom. And so we're getting to that point now. I know Eckert has really struggled with this because I think it makes it easy for me as I plug this adapter in, and at home I don't even have to plug that in, but plug this adapter in and hit the Zoom thing and just start the meeting. Where he has difficulty is when people come in with the club computer, they load their own data or log into their own site on the club computer and it doesn't have the Zoom stuff in it. Or people insist on using their computer and it's not set up to do all the Zoom stuff. And this is really causing Eckert a lot of headaches, and we've got to get that straightened out. Do you want to weigh in on that, Eckert?
No, I think we should move on.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Apologize for the phone, but I didn't put mine off because I want to know how I can set this up so it's always quiet when I come to the library. I think there's a way to do that. And I always forget to turn it on when I leave.
Yeah, you can create you need to email Marilyn. She created a shortcut for that. And just tell her I want the shortcut to silence my phone when I walk in the library.
Okay.
I just do mine automatically when I come in. Okay, so I want to take a minute and talk about, I want to talk a little bit about this touchpad business. So we're going to go to this email and I'm going to go here. And so we've got this new invisible or cursor move that you can make that we've gone over before, but if you take your finger, I'm going to take my finger and hold it on the space bar, the keys disappear, and notice the cursor at the top, I can move around to wherever I want to and then start typing. I use this all the time. So I wanted to just basically touch on that. Okay, then cancel that out of here.
What did you hold?
You hold the space bar down. The keyboard, and this works on the phone as well. Keyboard disappears, and then you can take and move the cursor around. Okay. Okay. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was in Safari. Just a quick thing, and again, we've gone over some of this, but if we go to, let's go to this Apple site. And we're at the top of the site, we're cleaning our phone, and we go down and we're looking here, and all of a sudden, you get down here at the bottom and you want to get back up to the top real quick. What you do is if you're all the way down at the bottom, you see this Apple support with the lock next to it, you touch on that, and this will come up. And then right above it, where there's just nothing, I'm going to put my finger right there, and it comes right up to the top. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to go down. Now, what I do is I touch on this Apple support, and the next time I touch it, I touch the blank space above applesupport.com. Above. Right there. Okay? And that's good to know. Any questions on that? Okay, now, well, the next thing I wanted to go over was is in settings. I'm going to do this on the phone. I can do it on here. Now I'm going to do it on here. So you go to settings and you go to accessibility, which is the 5th one down, and go down to spoken content. It's about the 6th item down. See it there? Hit on that.
You go to what?
Spoken content. Accessibilities, spoken content. It's about the 6th item down. Settings, accessibility, and then spoken content. Okay? And you notice I have it on. It says speak selection. That's what I have on. I'll turn it off, turn it on. Okay? Now, when I turn it on, this thing comes up and it says highlight content as it is spoken. I got that turned off, and there's another one you can do, and I had trouble getting this to work. I got it to work a couple times, and that's the second one down, speak the screen. If you turn that on, it says what you got to do is you got to swipe down with 2 fingers and it'll read the entire screen. I had a little bit of trouble getting that to work. I got it to work a few times, but the other one is pretty neat. So I've got it on and I'm going to show you how it works. So I go into mail, spoken content.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So now I'm in this email that Eckert sent me, okay? And what I do is I go in here and I select, I'm just gonna select down to here, okay? Now I tap on that. And notice that when the bar comes up, one of the items there, the fourth item over, says speak. If I hit that,
Mitch and I tested the Zoom setup yesterday in preparation for today's meeting. Mitch will not need a computer. He will use his iPad. We need to simply connect his iPad to the library's video and audio system. I will use my laptop as host for Zoom. Mitch will join that meeting from
I can stop it. So I thought this was pretty neat. And they said, what they said in a video that I looked at on it is that, you know, this would be great for somebody who's having a problem, perhaps reading something because of their eyesight, or they just are having some kind of visual difficulties. And the other one where you swipe down, you can play with that one to do the whole page. I had some difficulty getting that to work, but I wanted to just, these were, particularly the speaking, the text was something I wanted to just touch on. Any questions on that? Yes.
So I went to settings, but I don't have accessibility.
Accessibility, what phone do you have?
Under general, look under general.
What phone version? A 5. It's probably under general and accessibility. And if you don't have spoken text, it might not be available on a 5 because that's getting pretty far back. And do you have accessibility under general?
Yes, I do.
Hit on accessibility and see if spoken text is there.
See if what?
Spoken text is there. Spoken text. General, spoken text.
I'm looking.
Spoken text or content?
Spoken content. It's probably because of the because it's a 5 and that's going back pretty far.
Mine's over there, it says speak selection.
Yours says speak selection. Okay. On the newer devices, it's there.
So what's the purpose of, why are you telling us this?
Well, again, if somebody is having some visual difficulties, maybe they're having trouble seeing their screen or something, this is a way that you could get the screen to read for somebody who has some visual difficulties. Or perhaps you just want it read to you rather than sitting there reading the whole thing.
Can't you tell? Oh, it says hearing aid compatibility.
No, that's not it. I think your phone is too old to have that feature. That's old. Okay. The other thing I wanted to go over, I have to ask this. Does anybody want me? Somebody found out how to work it. Does anybody want me to go over how to turn off voiceover?
What is the definition of voiceover?
What is voiceover?
Voiceover,
Is it somewhere in settings,
yeah, it's in settings. It's right in the same area.
in accessibility?
Yes.
Voiceover, okay, voiceover, and mine is off.
Yeah, don't turn it on. If you turn it on, you have trouble getting it off.
What's the purpose?
What does it do?
Anybody have an answer to that? I never use it.
Why did you bring it up?
The reason I brought it up is because no, the reason I brought it up is because a lot of people have turned it on and have had a lot of difficulty getting it off because it's a nightmare to get off unless you know what to do. My recommendation is not to turn it on.
But what does it do?
Voiceover, if you go to it, it says voiceover speaks items on the screen.
It
So we have-
speaks ISIS?
No, it speaks item, sorry about my
Oh,
note.
items. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What about Zoom right below?
Zoom will just zoom the screen. If you Zoom, again, it's a feature that I don't use at all. Do you use that, George, Zoom?
Over the years, I haven't had.
Yeah.
So it's better off not to fiddle with it.
No.
Usually when you go into the Apple store and check your whatever, you know, look at the general accessibility, they automatically do what should be off, you know, because it's the norm.
Yeah, no, normally it's like on my screen, all those things are off, except I do have that, that spoken selection on, and you said you don't have that on your phone.
But it has display accommodations is on, and larger text is on.
Or larger text, I think I do have on. There's a lot of settings there.
Vibration and shape to undo is on,
You don't,
and everything else is off.
Yeah,
some of those are on when you do it automatically.
automatically, exactly. Okay, so I am going to show this, just even though you're just so you've seen it.
You asked us if we wanted to see it, you said no.
Yes, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. So here's my phone, and I'm going to go to the settings, and I'm going to turn this voiceover on.
Settings. Voiceover. Switch button. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
Is it hard to turn it off?
That's what's hard to turn off. So now I'm going to go, see, notice that,
Settings.
okay,
Swipe up with 3 fingers to close settings.
so you have to swipe up with 3 fingers to close things off.
Closing notes.
And
Current action.
if I turn off the phone,
12:19 p.m. Try again.
okay, now, if what you have to do is start at the bottom, see my finger and go up about this high,
Button. Possible text. Face. Passcode field. 0 of 6 value center. Secure text field.
and then it'll open up with your Face ID. And then you go to settings, but watch what happens. When I hit settings, it just highlights it, and then you got to double tap it.
Settings. Double tap to open. Settings.
Okay, and then I can't see the accessibility, so you have to do 3 fingers slide up. Let me do it here.
Why are you using 2 fingers?
Because it says to use 3 fingers in the directions.
But
Okay.
that's with that phone. She doesn't have a phone that does that, right?
Yeah, that's right. So then I get to this accessibility area, and when I hit on it, again, nothing happens. That's why this is very confusing and hard to turn off when you've turned it on. It's like, oh my God, how did I get out of this? But if you double tap on it then, it'll come up, and I hit on this, and again, double tap, and then hit on this, and double tap, and finally it goes off.
That's convenient.
So I got this thing on by accident one day, just screwing around trying to figure out what the phone would do. And Marilyn, same thing happened to Marilyn in our group. And she's the one who actually wanted me to go over this with the group. She said, because it's a nightmare to get out of it. And the way I got out of it is I went on my computer and I went to YouTube or to Google and YouTube, and saw a video of exactly how to do it. But it is it's not easy, okay? All right, now, let's see if I had anything else, and then we'll just talk about
So
it.
by turning that on.
It just reads everything on the screen, it just,
Right.
yes,
But you're not allowed to swipe, you need 3 fingers.
to swipe. yes, to swipe this way and swipe. And it gives you those directions, when you read it, if you go into, let me go into that area again. If you go into this voiceover area, you'll see it does give you some directions. Tap once to select the item, double tap to activate the selected item, which is what I was doing. Swipe with 3 fingers to scroll, and so on. It gives you some directions right there. But when you've turned it on and got off of this page, it's just like, wait a minute, what do I do? All right, now, let me check my notes and just see if there's anything else I have for the. I wanted to talk about a couple of apps. One that I've recently got that you might want to download, it has some interesting information, is that one at the bottom right-hand side or left-hand side, Apple support. It's in the App Store. It's a free download. And it's pretty good. I mean, if you go around in there and they give you some nice hints and things, and you got to play with it a little bit. The other one I wanted to talk about was, a lot of people ask, well, why do you use a VPN, or what is a VPN? And a VPN basically makes it so other people cannot come in and steal your data when you're on a public Wi-Fi. There are a lot of VPNs out there, and some of them will steal your data, and some of them do not have good ratings. The one I've been using for some time, and I think it costs $50 or $60 a year, is Encrypt Me.
Thank you.
And if you hit on Encrypt Me, when it's loaded, it'll come on and it'll say, do you want to turn it on or turn it off? And if I say, Encrypt Me. Yeah, yeah, ENCRYPT me. So here I've got it turned on. I find that one to be pretty good, and it automatically goes on for me when I'm at places like McDonald's or Starbucks or something like that. And again, it protects your data from being stolen.
It totally slows things down, does it?
Some of them do. I have not noticed it, but I have had ones in the past that have slowed things down. And sometimes with this one, I can't get an app to work with it. I don't know which apps, but I have had that difficulty every once in a while.
Yeah, how much did you say you pay for it a year?
I think Encrypt Me, somebody looks it up on the App Store. I think it's $50 or $60 a year. And there is
$1.99 a month.
For Encrypt Me? Okay, well then, maybe that's what it is. I thought it was more than that. Yes?
Okay, what's the definition of encrypting?
Encrypting is scrambling. The best way to explain it is it's scrambling your data so other people cannot read it. Okay? And they talk about 126-bit encryption and 256-bit encryption. The higher the bits of encryption, the more scrambled it is and the more difficult it is to break the code and to get to your data.
What type of person needs to do that?
Any person who is in a public Wi-Fi and looking at like their bank account, looking at a brokerage statement, looking at anything private, looking at your social security number, reading emails that you don't want other people to have access to, any personal data that you have that you bring up in a public Wi-Fi area that you don't want others to be able to steal or see.
So you download something so that all material when it surfaces becomes encrypted.
It's encrypted to others. They can't even see the data that you're bringing up.
But you can read it.
Yes, you don't even notice any difference.
it slows you down.
They can't read it, they can't see it, they don't know that you're on your bank account.
Is it because you're holding it that it's doing that, or?
No, it's because that's what the program does. It goes in and
Yeah,
it's,
but if somebody's standing next to you.
oh, they can see it, yeah. It's not gonna stop them from seeing what's on your screen. No, it stops them from seeing what's on your screen if they're sitting over there
Yes.
and they're pirating data. They're stealing data because they know how to do that, okay?
So they're sort of like bringing those files from your iPhone into theirs.
Yes, and it prevents that.
I think people don't understand that if you're on a public Wi-Fi and somebody is intelligent enough, they can listen into your conversation on that public Wi-Fi.
That's
Now,
it.
it's not a simple thing to do. Most of us in this room can't do it. But creative people, nasty people, if you want,
Hackers.
hackers can in fact figure out how, it's like listening in on your phone call.
Yes, exactly. It's like a party line. And you don't even, and you don't,
Your passwords.
and you don't, yeah, and your passwords and everything else. And you don't know that it's happening.
And that's why people say, when you go to a Starbucks or whatever, don't use your iPhone.
Or don't use your iPhone.
They don't explain, they don't use the word encrypt, they don't go all over the top. They just very simply say.
Yes, but if you want to use it and you have if you want to use it and you have an encryption program that's a good one, it will protect you. Period. That's the whole purpose of having a VP an encryption program.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yes.
Is there any place that you can go to check which VPNs are good ones and which ones are not?
You can do a Google search and get some ratings. You can also, I rely on the ratings on the Apple Store and what they tell you. I mean, this Encrypt Me app is on there, and I think it's got pretty good ratings. But there are a lot of other ones. You use this one as well?
Yeah, I use Encrypt Me. We had this conversation, I thought just the other day. And if it's free, don't use it. Because there's going to be some, you're going to get, it's not free, nothing is free. So you don't use a free one.
That's right. There are ones out there that are very dangerous to use. And so again, you don't want to use a free one, and you want to use one that has a lot of ratings, and the ratings are high. And then even if you get the ratings off of the App Store and you're happy with those, Google the app. Just Google ratings for Encrypt Me on Google and see what comes up there, and see if there's anything that comes up that's bad for whatever one you're using. Okay.
Take questions.
There are, yeah, I had one more app to go over, but let me just take any questions. Yes.
When you get a VPN on your net,
Yeah.
does it sync with your phone?
Some will, some won't. It depends on the one. And incidentally, VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So what it's doing is it's, again, back to your question in the back, it's taking the network and making it a virtual private network that only you can see. It's not going to prevent somebody from looking over your shoulder and seeing it. But if they are a hacker sitting over here, there's one right there, yellow shirt, they always have a yellow shirt on, then it'll prevent them from stealing your data when you're looking at stuff, whatever you have on your phone, if you have it turned on. Okay, or the other thing to do is, like somebody told you, don't use your phone in Starbucks. Okay.
Well, don't use it for email, you can use it for phone.
Well, you can use your phone, yeah.
No.
But even if you use your phone, if a hacker's in there, they can be listening to your conversation and you would never know it.
What about if you use your own cell?
If you use your, you're much safer if you're using your LTE as opposed to the Wi-Fi. LTE, yes.
When I was with Cleveland Clinic, we used the Citrix system. Then when I left the clinic, it haunted me. I couldn't really remove the darn thing, and remnants were always there. Is this easy to remove, and is it easy to turn on and off?
Yes, it is. Yes and yes. Encrypt Me, I haven't had any problems with Encrypt Me, have you?
No, not really.
Yes, George.
If you read, if you pay attention to what's being said about this coronavirus, almost every firm is telling their employees to work at home. They all will be using VPN because that's the only secure way if you're a remote employee to connect into the home computer.
That's exactly right.
VPN will be heavily used as Corona spreads out.
And I'm sure VPN, Eckert would probably know this, is built into Zoom. It has to be. So other people cannot get into your things who are not invited. Yes.
Is Zoom a website or an app, or what is it?
Zoom is an application that is in the cloud. Okay, it's run from the cloud, and it is an app, and and it's a company, and it trades on the New York Stock Exchange. And it is. There are other competitors. I don't know what the other competitors are, but Zoom is probably the dominant one at this point. Skype would be another one.
Google Hangout or something.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, but very good. Yes.
If you're on the club site
Yes.
and you go to listen to your presentation,
Yes.
you'll have to have the application for Zoom on your device.
No. The recording is there.
No, not the recording, but the live presentation.
Oh, the live presentation. I believe, yes, you do, but I believe when you hit on it, it'll direct you to download it. Yes. Eckert is the expert, yes.
So the first time, if you don't have it on your phone, the first time you use it, it'll ask you to download it, and then it'll be on your device.
On your device, yes. Whether it's your computer, I didn't have it on, Eckert and I were working on this yesterday afternoon. I was at home, he was at home. I didn't have it on my computer. And so I had to download it on my computer. Took a minute. I already had it on my iPad. I already had it on my phone. Yes, ma'am.
Mary is my name.
Yes, Canary.
I have a VPN and I used to travel a lot as a flight attendant, and in hotel rooms, it's important to use your VPN. You may not think you're in public because you're in a private hotel room, but you're on a public network in the hotel. So when you're traveling, it's important to use your VPN.
Yes, it's important. That's a very important point. It's important to use it whenever you're in a network that's not your own. In other words, when I'm at home, I know what my network is, and it's a private network, and I've got a secure code to get into it. When I go anywhere else, hotels, 7-Elevens, restaurants, doctor's office. I was in yesterday. They worked on me. This looks a lot worse than it really is. And it's all been taken care of. So, but yeah, I had to be there for an hour or two, and they had a network, and I got on with my VPN and was doing all kinds of stuff.
What is VPN stand for?
Virtual Private Network.
You did say that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The one that was recommended, you talked about that on Monday, was called Tunnel Gear.
I got that. It's from Canada.
Okay.
That
50 a month, a year.
He said 25 a year.
Well, maybe it's down.
So 20, which, if you take $1.99 a month for the one you're talking about, you're basically $24
Yeah.
a year. So it's
And I don't remember what mine was. I thought it was about 50, but George
Well,
would
I'm
know.
sure you probably paid more than that.
Yeah, you always seem to get the best price and you never tell me about it. Yeah, Joe.
The App Store shows encrypt.me, and then there's another one called encrypt.me.
The one you want looks like this, one at the bottom of my screen next to the 72. Has a key, a blue key,
Down on the screen.
on the bottom,
What's it got? To the left.
I see it.
right?
I see it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Uh-huh. Okay, questions? Yes.
I've had no trouble the last couple of weeks, I'm using two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Or something, and sometimes when I go to type that in, the screen will sort of lock up, and it won't let me type anything in. Do you know how to work around for that? I just had to shut down and restart and do it all over again.
That's what I would do. I don't have a workaround, and I have not experienced that. I have experienced it, but not anytime recently. Are you up to date on your iOS and all that?
Yes, I'm all updated.
And is your iPad a pretty new one?
It's iPad Air.
Yeah, you should be. I wouldn't think that you should have that problem. And I don't know is it happening more frequently?
No, just occasionally, it's just pain when it happens.
Any particular site?
No, I can't say I kept track of that.
Yeah. I'd look at that, but the only way I know is to do it is to restart. And sometimes you have to go to the extent of deleting the app and re-downloading the app. You gotta be careful doing that because sometimes you can lose data. It depends on the app. Okay. Yes, Bill.
I just received another text about the virus.
Yes.
The coronavirus can be spread through money. If you have any money at home, put on some gloves, put all the money in a plastic bag, and put it outside your front door. I'm collecting all the plastic bags tonight for you. Think of your health.
George, what's your address, buddy? I wanted to, is anybody in here doing scanning with their phone of documents? Okay. You take pictures?
Yeah.
You don't scan, you don't scan, okay, okay. All right, we've got a few minutes left. I wanted to quickly demonstrate that if I can. It's gonna be hard to do, but.
Are you all chat? Everybody scanning their checks they get? Yeah, their bank account?
Yeah,
That's great.
that's great to do. It's just a way to reduce paperwork and filing.
But you don't have to travel.
And if you're depositing checks with the bank, it's so you don't have to get in your car and go up there and do it. You can literally do it from home.
So there's an app for that?
Yeah, I'll show you that. Well,
No, it should come with their
Yeah.
financial institution.
yeah, whatever bank you're dealing with, almost every bank has it. And you just go in and it'll have one of the tabs under the app will be deposit. You'll hit that and it'll want you to take a picture of the front and the back of the check. Be sure you sign the back of the check. And then you put in the amount and it goes into your account. Yes. That's what that's about. Yep. And if you get them on the phone, they'll tell you exactly how to do it. Say, I got a check here. I want to learn how to do this. Because it's very convenient. Yes.
You gotta have the app of the bank on.
Yes, you got to have the app from the bank on your phone.
I've been doing it with an iPad for years.
I've been doing it with my phone for years with Bank of America.
I don't have a phone, but the iPad works great.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay, this is something a little different. And this is to scan documents, and the reason you would scan documents is to reduce your filing or to keep a permanent record. Like I'll scan my insurance, the declaration page on my auto insurance, my car registration. If I happen to not have it in my car and I get pulled over, they will accept the scanned version. You can pull it right up in your phone and say, here it is, officer.
Why can't you just take a picture of it?
You could take a picture as well, but usually a scanned document, there's a lot of other things you can do with a scanned document. Okay, the one that I use is called Scanner Pro. It's the second one down on the right-hand side. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to scan a document real quick. Now, these are all documents that I've scanned. There are 226 of them that I've scanned over the last 2 or 3 years. I scan I scan all of our important documents, period. I scan them, I save them in 2 different files. One's Dropbox, the other one is the one that's done by Microsoft. And they're also saved in Scanner Pro. So I have 3 digital places that they're stored. I shred the documents. I don't have any tax return documents for the last 2 or 3 years. When they come in, I scan them, I put them in a tax file. They go into 2 or 3 different backup locations. That's it. Now, I want to show you how this works real quick, and this is what's going to be difficult. Yeah, Dropbox, and the other one is, it's by Microsoft. I'll show it to you in just a second. Okay, so in this app, and this app costs, I don't know, $5 or $6 or $7. Yeah, OneDrive, it's called OneDrive. But this app is called Scanner Pro, and it's very good. If I go up here, like to the search area, and let's say I wanted to just go auto, it'll bring up any document that has auto in the title that I've put in. So in other words, it says Florida auto, and then there's a Utah auto. Now, if I didn't have auto in the title, it's not going to come up. If I would type in, let me see, something else I could type in would be Toyota. I had a Toyota 4Runner. Okay. That document comes right up. Now, the other thing, and I cancel that. I want to show you how this works. So this plus bottom at the bottom here, I'm going to hit that, and it comes up and it says, okay, let's scan something. And this is what's going to be difficult to show you. I'll put this card in front of me like this, and normally you would do this laying it down on a table. Okay, hold it up. And then I gotta take the picture. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I took a picture, and again, this is sloppy because I'm holding it in my hand, but I would just go like this and just adjust this like this. And then I'd say save selection. When I pull that selection up, there it is. Of course, it looks sloppy on the one side because my finger was there. But then I'd go down here to the bottom and touch on this scan, march, the whatever, and I put in what it is. Apple cheat sheet card. That's how easy it is to do. Now,
Save it to your scanner file. Where does it save it to?
okay, then when I'm done, okay, let's go here, and I'll just put in that this is Apple. Apple. And then I go space, and it'll have some choices for dates, so I'll just put a date in, okay? Now I put done. Now, I can come down here and I can add another document because I wanted to add more. I can share it, I can edit it. When you hit edit, it'll say, if I hit the trash, it'll say, do you want to take it again? You know, this was a sloppy copy, so, because my finger was in the way. Because again, normally what you would do is you would take your sheet of paper and you'd lay it on a surface, hold the phone up, and just do it. And I got a special place I do it in the kitchen with lights that are coming down, that it doesn't show a shadow of my phone on the document. That's important too. But I'll cancel this. But then the other thing, I'm gonna hit done. Everything it has is share. When I hit share at the bottom, okay, notice I've got Dropbox and I've got, I can save it to files, but I can also save it to OneDrive, okay? And that's where I would save things. So if I went to Dropbox and, okay, and this is my main Dropbox file. And there's all the categories that I have set up in Dropbox. Okay, so there they are. So, you know, if I go like taxes, here's all tax documents. Here's, you know, if I go to Social Security, here's Social Security. There's my Social Security, my wife's Social Security. If I go to Medicare, there's that. If I go to, I have a Lorex camera system on the house. And this is the receipt when I bought it. So when I get them on the phone, that's not wanting to come up right now, but it will come up. And they say, well, we want to know when you purchased it. I just go in here and I just look up, I just type in Lorex and it comes up. Here's a good one. This is my, these are eye prescriptions. So as soon as I get a prescription, it goes right in here. And again, they would come down, but they won't come down because I think I'm of the Wi-Fi right now. So, yes, Jim.
A quick question. When you first took the photograph of the thing that you were holding in your hand,
Yeah.
you dragged the edges.
Yes.
Is that to correct for any keystoning effect?
That's to correct because I was holding it. Normally what you would do, and I'll do it real quick. Normally what I would do, and we're going to have to go because we're out of time, but normally what I would do is I would just go, now, normally this is what I would do, and this is a good example. So I just took this photo, and this is what I mean by, so this one, what happened was the black there is the shadows that appeared from the light coming down. I might be able to correct that because if I hit edit and I go to here, I can go, it's already on black and white, so it's not going to correct it. But normally that's what you do, and so there is nothing to drag in because it automatically senses all the corners. But it was because I was holding it out here.
So if it senses all the corners,
yeah,
it presents it as a rectangle like the original item?
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Does that mean you can be off axis and still come up with a duplicate of that?
Yes, it's very rare that I have to do the draw. Okay. The reason I had to is because I wanted to demonstrate how I did it, and it's hard to do holding that.
But for most things, a picture is almost as good. I mean, you could always pinch in and pinch out if you wanted to focus on a particular part of the picture.
Yes, but again, if you take a picture and you want to print it out, it gets to be sloppy. Sometimes you got to convert it to a PDF. This is already done. So like on my tax return or anything, if I want those documents, I just go in and print them, and it's a PDF, and it prints right on my printer. Or I just hit it and I just mail it to whoever I want to mail it to. So we got to, one more thing.
I find that all of these printing is better with that scanner out than a picture or anything else.
Yeah, I got you to start using that, didn't I? Yeah. All right, well, I think we've exhausted our time. Am I officially dismissed, George?
not dismissed until everybody clears the room. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.